I'm Scott Munn, along with Tug Cowart in the Warrior Alliance Network studios in Atlanta, Georgia. Our guest today is David Kendrick Jr., a U.S. Army veteran and mental health advocate, originally from Rochester, New York. David has overcome tremendous adversity and gone on to build a life of purpose, impact, and service beyond the uniform. And we'll hear about his powerful journey today on Success After Service. At just 17 years old, David enlisted in the United States Army as a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout and deployed to Iraq in 2006 with the 361st Cavalry Regiment out of Fort Carson, Colorado. While conducting a patrol in Baghdad, David was shot by a sniper and earned the Purple Heart. After medically retiring from the Army in 2010, he began speaking openly about PTSD and the real challenges veterans face when transitioning back into civilian life. And now he's become a leading voice for veterans fighting back against mental illness. Tug and I are proud to have him here on the show today. Army veteran David Kendrick Jr., welcome to the Warrior Alliance Network.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Such pleasure.
Glad to be here.
And I understand this is your first kind of podcast, in at least in this setting.
It is. Good setup. You know, now I see how everything looks on TV. I'm like, wow, I'm really on one now.
Yeah, that's cool,
so
man.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
When you reflect on your service, when people ask you about that day in Baghdad, what do you tell them?
Man, this was during the time, it was the troop surge in Iraq at this time, and we were on the outskirts of Slaughter City. And one thing that makes this story so unique, it was June 17th, 2007. And June 17th of that year was Father's Day. So my best friend, Adamson, he's still in, Sergeant Major Adamson now. It was his first Father's Day. He saw his daughter be born in January, came back, and, I'm telling all my friends, Happy Father's Day, that we're fathers. And then we get to the corner of the college that we went to secure because we had this mission to go check people for bombs. We heard that we got some intel. There was going to be an attack on this college. But there was something off because the Iraqi police usually were there with us every single day. And this day, they weren't there. And just the antennas go up. You can feel the tension in the air. And I was just walking back to my truck after checking his backyard, heard a loud crack, shot by a sniper. We got ambushed. A truck pulled up and they did something called pray and spray, shot me again in my right leg, shot my truck commander, Sergeant Bailey, shot him in his forearm and through his hip, and then they just took off. But before that incident happened, you just knew something was up, especially when you get to the corner you're on and the Iraqi police are there every single day, and this day they weren't there. We knew something was up.
Goodness, man.
Yeah.
It's so hard to wrap my head around when I hear stories like these because that wasn't my experience in the Navy. I was in the middle of the ocean, You're just kind of shooting things in, and you get video of what the targets are, and you know where you're going. But my experience is so different, and I just have so much admiration for y'all in the Cavalry, especially, man. This is a step in a different direction, but I just love the Cav hats. Those
the Stetsons. Yeah, man. Oh, my God. So just the lineage, the honor of being in the Cavalry, and I believe the movie is Apocalypse Now, and the scene, and the I love to say, here comes the cavalry, and we do the big charge, and then the Buffalo Soldiers that came, the first group of African American soldiers who were able to serve in the military. It's just a lineage I didn't even know was there when I joined as a Cavalry Scout. My recruiter just showed me this video, these guys coming out of the water, chasing terrorists down the street, and I said, what is that?
Count me in for that.
He said, that's a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout. He said, first, let me show you every other MOS that we have, and he showed me them, and I just had my head down, and he's like, all right, let's go Cav.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go Cav.
Dude,
and
I love it.
And, that's how the Cav Scout was born.
Yeah, so it's obvious why you became a Cav Scout and rocked the cool Stetson. What made you join the Army to begin with?
Well, being from the city, I'm from Rochester, New York, and there wasn't many opportunities at that time. I was a horrible student, didn't think much of myself, just a lot of inner city stuff. We took our SATs, and me and a bunch of guys walked out, and our guidance counselor, he said, what are you doing? And we're like, man, we're not college material. You guys know that. I was really good at football, and I had this dream of playing football for the University of Buffalo and then getting drafted by the Buffalo Bills.
There you go.
But,
I like the way that played. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, that was my biggest dream, to play for the University of Buffalo and then play for the Bills. But ninth grade algebra was really hard. You know that
For me too, man.
That Pythagorean theorem, man. I tell you what, they say you're going to use it. Never seen it again since high school, ever. But I wasn't getting along with my dad too well. I was a really wild kid, and I wanted to be in the streets, and he didn't want me to be in the streets.
Yeah, sure.
And
it's a good
the Army, and we butted heads because of that. And the Army literally was the fastest way out the house.
Okay, did the Army straighten you out from all that?
Oh, they did. Let me tell you something. The Army, from the beginning, my recruiter, Sergeant Soto, he was patient with me. He saw how raw I was as a kid because I got in trouble on the school bus. I got kicked off the summer school bus. He had to drive me to summer school, 45-minute drive every day. And he asked me, I got kicked off the bus, and I told him about it, and he said, okay, send me your schedule when you go back to school, because he had also gotten me a job at a car wash called Delta Sonic. He said, send me your schedule. And I thought that was weird. I gave him my schedule, and every morning and every afternoon I was running. My first time getting smoked was through him. But what that taught me is it taught me discipline.
Sure.
It taught me, and the Army was the first thing that I ever wanted at 17 years old that I had to work hard for, including passing that ninth grade algebra.
Sure.
And then just being disciplined and seeing everything the Army had to offer through him, my recruiter.
Yeah, I love that. Just having a goal and working toward it is so good for kids.
Yeah.
And it's good for every kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they want to play football or they want to go in the Army. Whatever the goal is, having a goal, something to work toward, I think it's amazing.
But even though you got shot in Iraq, I bet you don't regret a minute of it.
I don't regret anything. It was the best decision I've ever made. And because I made that decision at 17 years old, I'm still benefiting from it. I'm benefiting from it now at 38. I got my master's degree in project management paid for. And I'm able to tell this great story. I got the best friends I've ever had in my life that I wrote a book about called Cavalry. I self-published my own book about my experience. And I just I get respect from people I never thought I would get respect from. And that started as soon as I graduated basic training, and I was at Chili's, and I went to pay for my food, still in my Class A uniform, and the waitress said, no, this has already been paid for.
Yeah.
And
paying it forward.
I thought, who would think enough about me, this 18-year-old kid from nowhere, to pay for my food? Exactly.
A grateful nation.
And that's the first time I ever felt respect, was wearing that uniform. And I mean, it's just to this day still have that feeling.
To a tougher time, obviously your military experience has been wonderful, but what are the challenges that you've experienced with the injury that you had?
Not knowing what my life would be like after the military. I just made a video on my YouTube page about the injury that Patrick Mahomes and Michael Parsons have right now.
Yeah.
How you're at one moment at the top of the world, and you're so young, and you're making all this good money, and you're with your best friends of your life, and it's over like that. And I was 20 years old, and the bullet, it shattered my femur. It hit my femoral artery, so I lost a lot of blood, and it clipped my sciatic nerve. And then, because the hole was so big, a bunch of sand and dirt got caught in the wound, and I caught a really bad blood infection. And I had something called a DVT, a really bad blood clot, deep vein thrombosis in my left leg. And every single day, doctor said, we may have to amputate. We may have to amputate. We may have to amputate. And I was just able to keep my leg. And from there, I said, if I'm going through this and I got over this, I can get through anything.
Amen.
And as soon as I was able to walk again, I was lifting weights, I was doing squats, I was doing, TRX squats, because I knew that this isn't it for me. It's not the end. I'm only 20 years old, and it was crazy about it. Got shot at 20, wasn't even old enough to buy my own beer.
Yeah, right? It's crazy, isn't it? Wow.
But I said, this isn't the end for me.
I love that.
So maybe the mental recovery was actually a little bit harder than the physical recovery for you.
It was, because the day after I got shot, my best friend, Eric Snell, was shot and killed by a sniper.
Oh, my God.
And we were roommates, and I had extreme survivor's guilt because he had children, and I didn't, and I still don't. And the mind creates crazy scenarios when you overthink. And I was thinking that the sniper thought that I survived the injury, and instead of shooting to wound, this time he would shoot to kill. And instead of killing me, he killed my roommate and my best friend. So that mental anguish was, it destroyed me in the hospital. And then when I was going through physical therapy, I was afraid to put weight on my left leg because I thought it would break again. And all I could see was my leg broken like it was the day I got shot.
Amazing.
Wow. It is,
And you really overcame it.
Yeah.
I mean, you not only overcame it, let's talk about your life after that. I mean, in 2012, you relocated to Atlanta. You were pursuing a great opportunity to earn your MBA, which you did in project management from the Keller Graduate School. Served as the co-president of the NAMI DeKalb group, which is representing the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and you represent them as a national ambassador to this day, right?
Yes.
That's significant right there. Tell our audience about the work that you're doing as a national ambassador with NAMI, and what's the mission like there, and are you making a difference in people's lives?
I am. So NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and they have affiliates in every single state. Here in Georgia, we have a NAMI affiliate in every single county, and I don't even know how I got involved with NAMI, but I worked my way up as a volunteer, and then I graduated from a program down here called the United Way VIP program, which teaches people how to sit on nonprofit boards. And I put in a bid to be the vice president of NAMI DeKalb, and then I worked my way up to co-president of NAMI DeKalb. And what NAMI does is we provide free mental health resources to parents and caregivers of anyone living with a mental illness. And the most vital program that I was able to be a part of was called NAMI Homefront, which teaches caregivers and parents of veterans living with mental illness just what they're going through and how to help them deal with their mental illness. Because when I got back, my family knew I was in the Army, but they had no idea what a Cavalry Scout was, had no idea what I did for 5 years. And my dad initially said, well, your time in the Army is up. You know, you're a civilian now. I need help paying bills. And that just destroyed me. But he didn't know how important my service was to me. So as a national advocate for NAMI now, what I do is spread the word all around the country about NAMI, our free programs and resources, and help fundraise so the programs can keep going for those individuals that need it.
Man, that's a lot, but it says a lot about you too, and your ability to bounce back, your ability to have your own discipline, and then the discipline to help others. And there's so many perspectives around post-traumatic stress, and you're a Purple Heart recipient, nothing but love for that. You've experienced combat trauma firsthand, and now you're advocating for veterans that are looking for help. What's some of the lessons you feel like you've learned along the way that you're able to pass on and guide other folks with?
Never be afraid to ask for help. When I was in my most desperate situation, I had got into some trouble at home, just dealing with family and my PTSD, and ended up getting assigned to a veterans court to help keep veterans from doing like lengthy jail or prison sentences. And the best therapist that I ever had was in East Point, Georgia. They had the VA down there had like little satellite offices down there. And I wasn't feeling like myself. And every time you go to a mental health appointment, they ask you, do you feel like harming yourself or others? And my answer was yes. And then my therapist asked me, well, which one? And I said, I don't know. Wow. I don't know which one. But if I go home, this is going to be my last appointment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so, my God, dude.
Yeah. And so we made a plan right there. The VA down here in Atlanta has a 4th floor, kind of like a mental health ward. And I said, well, I need to go there right now. Right now.
But having that, again, I guess discipline, having that wherewithal to recognize it in yourself, sure, prompted by the question, but then being brave enough to say the right things, to say those hard things, knowing that when you do, action will take place. Something has to happen.
Yes.
Dude, that's as brave as it gets, if you ask me.
Yeah, and what pains me the most, this actually happened with a veteran down here. I can't think of his name right now, but there was a veteran that was looking for help. He didn't find it. Him and his mother were looking for help, and he went to a doctor's appointment at I think a hospital or a small office. He got turned away because he was late. He came back with a weapon and shot and killed the receptionist and had half the city on lockdown.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, I know that pain, and I can't defend what he did, but if he just got the resources that he needed, or if his family knew about NAMI Homefront, or if he just knew, here's how I need help, because there's always a cry for help. It's just about who answers it.
Right, and what that cry looks like.
Exactly.
And I'm sure it's different for everybody.
Exactly.
So turning to more things that you've done, Tug, this is amazing. He's also founded the Lion Speaking Agency, where he's going on speaking engagements and also encouraging others and to do that as well. And like you said earlier, authored a book called Cavalry, a memoir. And folks can learn more about that at dkendrickjr.com. That's dkendrickjr.com. What inspired you to write that book, and what can readers expect to take away from it?
So, when I was reading other books and seeing other movies and shows from the 20 years of war, there wasn't any movies or books about the troop surge and what we faced during that time. And there was a new type of IED that came out called EFPs, and I didn't see any movies or books or stories about these EFPs. And then during this time, we also started going on new missions and living out in sector with the Iraqis on these little bases called combat operation posts. So we living out in sector with the Iraqis. I was lead driver facing these dangerous EFPs that were just cutting through our Humvees like butter. And I thought to myself, well, somebody should tell this story. But let me tell you how Cavalry really started. After all of my friends left Fort Carson, I just started a diary. I just opened a Word document and started writing my life. And so I would never remember all of my friends, the friends that I lost, the memories that we had, my first love, just all these experiences that I had as an adult for the first time just in the military. And I had this Word document for about 2 or 3 years, and I just thought to myself, well, why don't I try to do something with it? So I got on LinkedIn, and I found an editor, and I told her what I had and my idea of wanting to write this book. And of course, I named it Cavalry. And as far as I know, there's not a book called Infantry, so that's one up that we got over the infantry.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, that's one up we got over them, the infantry. Right. And right now,
I love the competition. It never goes away.
Yeah. So right now, I have a script Bible, and we're shopping it, trying to get it made into something like Band of Brothers, because there's so many different layers of relationships that I have in this story. Me being my mom's only son, her oldest child, me getting shot on Father's Day, me falling in love for the first time, me losing friends, me experiencing life and really becoming a man on the battlefield. There's so many different layers to the story.
Gosh, man. That's so interesting. Dude, that's a bestseller.
Yeah.
That's an incredible movie.
Yeah. And if you're a producer out there listening, let's see, the website again is dkendrickjr.com.
Yeah, you can find Cavalry on Amazon.
And you're clearly a compelling speaker and a motivator. What is the speaking track that you offer to your clients and to yourself? How do organizations connect with you about speaking at their events, and do you come talk about this whole experience there?
I do. First, let me tell you how the Lion and Lion Speaking Agency got started. After I got injured, this was during the time when the troop surge, we were just getting hammered in Iraq and in Afghanistan. And there was this big scandal going on at Walter Reed, a lot of accidental overdoses of purposeful overdoses going on.
Yeah.
So I didn't get sent to Walter Reed. I got placed in a unit called the Warrior Transition Unit. And this was a unit for injured soldiers to heal. And I became addicted to opioids there because they were just giving them out like Skittles. But what I found, I became E5, I became Sergeant Kendrick, and I got put on a duty called CQ, Charge of Quarters, checking the barracks 24 hours a day. And what I found, multiple occasions, suicides, accidental overdoses, soldiers who were passed out in their rooms, who just didn't know how to say what they were going through. And in group therapy, I always would speak up for other veterans. So that's where the Lion and Lion Speaking Agency comes from, because it takes a lot of heart to say, hey, I'm feeling vulnerable, or I'm having a problem with opioids or with alcohol. So I started this. I graduated from a program called the EBV program at Syracuse University in 2012 before I moved down here. And what I hope to do one day is have a team of speakers that want to speak about anything and inspire other people and motivate other people just to, whatever you're going through, you're not the only one. And my biggest payoff, of course, a check. But when people come to me after I'm walking off stage and they say, man, my brother's going through the same thing, or I had a veteran that committed suicide in my family, and you gave me a little insight of what they may have been going through.
That's so touching, man. Yeah. And it is. What is it? Is the number 22 a day?
That's what it is, and we're trying to get it to 0.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work to do, Scott.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work to do.
We do, but thanks to folks like you, just talking one-to-one or in a group with people, just talking about it is what helps prevent it, because then people feel inspired that they can talk about their feelings.
And just like you said, you have people coming up to you after going, I had no idea, or, hey, this is happening now. What do I do? And I'm sure you're able to answer a lot of those questions.
Yeah, because that's part of my story too. I mean, I had a failed attempt in 2010, and I was living in an apartment by myself. I got taken in by this program called the Warrior Salute Program in Webster, New York. And the thing is, you can be in a brand new environment, but if you still have the same demons, it's not going to matter.
No, that's right.
So one night I drank 2 bottles of Bacardi, I took some pills, and I drove myself to Rochester General Hospital. And I had a note said, I just tried to commit suicide. Save me if you can. And when I woke up, the first person I saw was my mom. And I was in a padded room. And I said, I can't do this to my mom. After her coming to Colorado, seeing me in a hospital bed after getting shot by a sniper, now she's seeing me in a hospital room after trying to commit suicide. Something's got to change. And so that's why the NAMI Homefront program is so important as well, so that when we come back, our parents know where to get help for us as well when they see the signs.
Wow. We thank you for being here and telling your story. It was great that Scott Johnson got a hold of you and brought you in. Scott Johnson, the CEO of the Warrior Alliance. But how would you say that you were introduced to the Warrior Alliance, and how do you engage with veterans there surrounding the work that they're doing? Do you guys interact together? Are you
networking? A long time ago, I was doing a lot of work with the Warrior Alliance. I actually spoke on a panel with a firefighter that was there at the 9/11 attacks. He threw out the first pitch at the Braves game a couple years ago, and they were so every year there's a big event that the Warrior Alliance puts on, and they had members from the National Guard here, and I think a few other service members on active duty from Fort Benning, and it was the first time since I had gotten shot that I sat behind the wheel of a Humvee. And man, those memories just came flooding back, because it's crazy how war was some of the best times of my life because of the people that I was with. So yeah, the Warrior Salute program, the Warrior Alliance, they gave me that opportunity, and we connected. I connected with Olivia again at an event that the city of Atlanta had, and she said, you got to come down and meet Scott again and come on the podcast.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. I know Scott said it, and I'll say it again. Your story is so incredible, and the things that you've been able to overcome and the things you've been able to do since, it just shows what our military fighting men and women are capable of. And I'm always so impressed by them, and I have such admiration for them, and I always feel such a brotherhood, connection with folks who have served as well. When you run into people like yourself at that time, in maybe the worst place in their life, what do you say to them?
I ask them what their resources are, what have they done for help, make sure that they know that they're not the only one in that foxhole fighting by themselves, because sometimes you feel like you do. You feel like you're fighting by yourself, and now the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds that deployed back then, now we're 38, 39, 40, trying to start families like myself, and just letting them know that, hey, I've been there with you. I have the same scars, both physical and mental, because sometimes you need to see somebody who's actually been through it to receive that help from them.
Do you think we can eliminate PTSD at some point?
I think it'll always be a part of us. It's just now knowing how to manage it.
Okay.
My biggest symptom of PTSD was thinking I was going to get shot by a sniper again, that he was going to come back one day and finish the job. But I play a little game called How Likely.
Yeah.
And every time I'm feeling like this is going to happen, and any veteran can do this, how likely is it that the same sniper that shot me in Iraq and killed my best friend is coming back to finish the job when I'm 38?
So simple.
0.
But it's such a simple thing to do, to just coach yourself through a time of anxiety. I'm impressed by that too, and I appreciate that, how simple that is and how wonderful it is.
And hey, man, if you
time.
don't mind me saying, I bet you the rest of the surge took care of that character, and he's not on the surge.
Oh, yeah, not again. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you had the boys out there taking care of business.
Yeah.
Dude, there's nothing better.
Showed them what the Cavalry's all about.
That's right. That's exactly right. Rest and recovery, essential for mental health. What do you do in your downtime, man? What keeps you busy?
Man, I'm married now, so I love to spend time with the wife.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
I
we were
love that,
talking
man.
earlier about traveling, so
Yeah.
finding new places to travel to find some good oysters.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, so far we found some in Savannah and New Orleans.
Charleston's good too, man.
Okay,
I
that's
think
another
you're
place.
a new official Southerner.
I
Yeah,
tell
you
you,
know.
man, you sure sound like it.
You know, but yeah, you know, just seeing how good family life can be.
Amen.
And, you know, we're trying to start a family now, trying to have kids hopefully in 2026, and just living the life that every normal person, whatever you define as normal, should live. You know, it's our second Christmas together.
That's awesome.
You know, got the Christmas tree up and, you know, spending time with the family and, you know, just trying to, you know, be the best David I can be.
You are living the American dream, my friend.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love it. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
God bless you, and continued success. I hope it won't be the last time we get to see you around here.
No, definitely won't be.
You're always welcome.
Definitely won't be.
There you go. Thank you so much for checking out the Warrior Alliance Network here today. For Scott, I'm Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?